All right, let's come back. So we are in step 6. So after the ADC service has successfully started, right click on PLAB DC01CA. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, and then when we right click on that, what do? We go to property, right? So that property will show this page over here. Okay, so when we click on that, okay, so notice that under CA certificate, so right here, okay, certificate authority, right? PLAB DC CA certificate. We have certificate number 1 is right there, right? So click OK. Okay, so that means the certificate is there. Let me find out. OK should be at the bottom over here. We click OK. Great. What else do we have to do over here? Task 4. So we want to restart PLAB DM01. Okay, so we go back inside PLAB DM01 and then we go to restart. So we go to here, start, and then restart right here. Okay, it will say, do you really want to do that? Yeah. Okay, let me cancel this one first. Good. And then, all right, so step number 1, click start and then restart. Okay, so start, restart. It's going to ask that question again. Okay, and then what we need to do, there we go. So in the shutdown, operating system reconfiguration, click OK. So let's make sure it shows up. Okay, so we want to choose a operating system. So in the shutdown window, select operating systems. Okay, operating system reconfiguration planned, right? And then click OK. So it will do its own stuff, disconnect and then connect back in. And that complete the first exercise, right? Okay, first exercise. So keep the devices you have powered on in the current state and proceed to the next exercise. Go ahead and do that. So exercise 2, we want to configure FTP. Okay. So in this tab, you will configure an FTP server to receive file from a remote source, right? To set up the FTP, we want to go to PLAB DM01. Okay. So after 2 minutes, we will connect to that PLAB DM01. Let's do that. PLAB DM01. Okay, establishing connection. There we go. So what we want to go is starts, administrative tool, and then IIS. Okay, start, administrative tool, okay, IIS, Internet Information Service. Okay, right there. There we go. So on the Internet Information Services Manager, expand PLAB DM01. PLAB DM01. That's what we want to expand here. It's right here. We expand that PLAB DM01 and then expand site. And then right click site. Okay. And then add FTP site. Okay. There we go. So on the site information, click in the FTP site name and then make sure we type in FTP dot training dot local. Okay. And then in the physical path, and then we click on the three dot over here. And then when that pops up, we will expand local disk C drive, then click make new folder. All right, so let me go make new folder. Um, local C backup file, local disk C. Click make new folder. What is that? Let's see. This program. Let me see. Restore, share, configure, new folder. Yeah, I can just do that. All right, so let's go down the road here and go to, let me expand this guy. So I'm going to right click on the local disk and go to new, okay? New and then folder. There we go. Yep. And then that new folder, let's see how we're gonna call it. Name the folder as FTP data. We call it FTP data. FTP or capital space data. And then click OK. There we go. It's on there. Step 6. Back on the site information. Okay. So the detail of the FTP site name and physical parts have both been filled, and then we click on next, right? So they've both been filled. We click on next. Step 7, on the binding. So here is the binding. Okay, on the binding and the SSL settings, locate the IP address. Okay, so IP address, drop down menu, and then change it to 192.62.0.2. Okay, all right. That's the second in the list. All right. Okay. Ensure that the start FTP site automatically is checked. So it is checked. So under SSL, choose the no SSL right here. That's what we choose, and then we click next. Okay. I don't think we need to change anything on the port number for now. All right. Step 8. On the authentication and authorization information page, so authentication, near authentication select basic, okay? So we have anonymous and then basics, okay? So under authorization, locate allow access to. So here's the allow access to drop down menu. We go all users, all right? So under permission, we choose read and write. So read, and then we choose write, okay? And then click finish. There we go. Step 9. The FT site called the ftp.training.local is now available. As you can see at the bottom right here, okay, it's now available, right? So we want to minimize internet and so let's minimize the IIS. Okay, so let's minimize that. There we go. And then we can see right here on the machine, we have PLAB DM01 and then CIS LAB administrator. So we want to add in task 2, we want to add files to FTP site. Step number 1, still in the same device, we click Window Explorer. Window Explorer on taskbar, let's do that. Okay. So we want to expand computer. What is that? Computer. And then local disk, C, and then FTP data folder. So remember we opened up a FTP data folder before, right? So, all right. On the right panel, right click in the empty, okay, we right click that and then we go to new and then text file, text document. All right. And that text document needs to have a name. And the name will be error description. Okay, so error description. Error underscore description. Okay. So this. Okay. Description. All right. And then click enter. Press enter. All right. So we name the file. So right click again on the detail panel and then select new again, a second text document. Okay. And then we're gonna name that one programs. Programs. And then click enter. So that's the second test file. Step 6, on Windows Explorer, so we want to navigate away from the FTP data by clicking computer node. Let's go there. So let's go over here, computer. Okay. Okay. So keep Windows Explorer open for the next activity. All right, let's go ahead and do that. Task 3, verify access to FTP site. Step number 1. So on the PLAB DM01, Windows Explorer is open. Click in the address bar of Windows Explorer, right? So what is the address bar? Let me make it a little bit bigger. Okay. So it shows computer and then it has the address bar right here. And before it has this the search. So make sure I have that. Okay. And then let's type in FTP 192.168.0.2. Okay. Then press enter. There we go. So that FTP server opens. So we want to, username is going to be administrator. Administrator. Then the password is gonna be password PASSW0RD and then log on. Good. And then here we go. We have the two files in there. All right. Two files are in there. Good. So right click the new FTP site and select new and then folder. Right. Anywhere here we click and then new and then folder. Okay. And then let's create that folder. We'll call it company data. Company data. Company underscore data. And then press enter. So that's the file. Okay. Step 6, close Windows Explorer. All right, let's close that up. Yeah, close Windows Explorer. And that complete exercise 2 as well. We good? All right. All right. Next, exercise 3. We want to generate a request for an internet service certificate. Let's do that in that exercise. PLAB DM01. So on the PLAB DM01, restore internet and service explorer. Remember we will reduce that before IIS. Hopefully I still have it here. Here you go. So right there. So we restore that. We want to click a PLAB DM01. Let's see, let me move it to the right a little bit. That way I can see everything. PLAB DM01 parentheses. Okay. So click on that. Okay. We scroll down to locate the IIS. Okay. Let's go ahead and do that. IIS. So let me filter that and see if it will pop up. There we go. It's right here. Pops up. Okay. So we have the IIS section. On the IIS section, double click server certificate. Okay. Server certificate. Let me take a look at it. IIS and then server certificate. Let me make these a little bit bigger so I can see everything. Let me put it up a little bit more. Okay, server certificate is in the right panel. Okay. So we click on PLAB, it's right here. That's what I just did. Administrator, it's right there. Okay. So we click on that and then we scroll down to find out IIS certificate. It's right here. That's the IIS. And then on the IIS, we're looking for CGI. Doesn't seem to be here. Server certificate, what is that? Are you able to locate that server certificate? Because I can see it on my end. Let's see. IIS. Let me refresh that. We never know. Let it refresh a little bit. Okay, let's take a look at it again. IIS. Okay, hang on. I'm going to close it and open it back on. Okay, going to computer. Yeah, local disk. FTP data. All right, let me close that one. Server manager. Okay, so let me close that. Open up Start, Administrative Tools, and then IIS, Internet Information Service. It's right here. Good. So we have that open. What I want to do is expand the PLAB. So that's what we want to do on the next activity. All right. So we expand the, so we click on that, and then we have to find out the IIS section. Let me put this up a little bit more. Okay, IIS service. This is FTP. There we go. Now we have it right here. Okay. So if you can find first, you have to close it and then go back to administrative tool and then locate it back. You just need to be refreshed. Okay. So I have it right now. So we locate that and then we click on server certification. Okay. Go down a little bit and find the server certification on that one. IIS, hold on. IIS after FTP, okay? That's IIS. Let me click inside this panel. Let's see if I can go server certification, SMTP, authentication, server certification, let's see, error, HTTP response. Yep, so server certification is right here. Okay, so we double click on that. Okay, so after we do that, so in the action, okay, so the server certificate page is right here, right? So in the action, so let me put this back to the left a little bit. So in the actions panel, we click create. So create certificate request, okay? And then we have to fill that out. So in the distinguished name property, okay? In common name, we have to type in www, so 3w dot training, so training session altogether dot com. Okay, training session all.com. And then in the organization field, we type a practice lab. So practice space lab. Okay. And then in the organization unit, so in the city or locality, and then state, we type in Texas. In both. Okay. Texas. Texas. Okay. So in the country region, we find US, or we type in US capital, United States. And then we click next. Let's make sure organization unit is there. Let's see. Windows Lab is going to go to organization because everything has to be filled or you're not going to be able to move on. So Windows Lab. Windows. And then click next. Okay. Okay. So in the bit length, we want it to be 2048 instead of the default 1024. 2048, that's the number of bit. And then we click next. Step 7 on the file. Okay, file name. So in the specify file name, we type in a C colon, so all in capital, right? C colon backslash lab, lab section. Okay, lab section. And then finish. Good. That looks good. So you'll be redirected back to IIS, which is where we are, right? Okay. So launch Windows Explorer on taskbar. Okay. Go back to your Windows Explorer, taskbar. And then step 9, click local disk. Okay, so local disk. And right click lab session. So we want to locate lab session. Let's go ahead. The one we just created. There we go. Right click on that. And then select open. All right. Step 10, select notepad. From the open dialog. Okay. So notepad, and then let's see notepad, and then let's open it. We go to the left. All right. Notepad. Okay. So that complete this part, this task as well, right? Number 5, what is in there? Installing a binding SSL. So we're still in PLAB DM01, right? So let's go back. PLAB DM01. Okay, so it's right there, what we wanted before. Okay, so click PLAB DM01 practice. It's right here. Under IIS, again, let me go back to IIS. Good. Find out IIS. IIS is at the bottom. And then we go back to server certificate, okay? Server certificate. There we go. Double click on that. And then in the actions menu, click create domain certificate. All right, we'll feed that out. On the common name, we're going to type 3w dot training session again. And then organization, we're going to type in practice lab. And then in the unit, we're going to type in Windows lab. Windows lab. And then Texas. Texas again. And country is going to be United States, US. And then we click next. Boom. On the online, so we click select. Okay. And then we select the certification authorization, practice lab. Okay. And then we are going to put in a friendly name, PLAB. DM01 server certificate. And then click on finish. So wait while the domain is being processed. It's already processed. So it is now published, right, into the server certificate. Good. Task 2. Click on the default website node. So default website nodes. So IIS Manager is still open. Server certificate. Here's the default certificate. Okay. So we expand site. We go to default website. Okay. So we right click on that, and then edit bindings. Edit binding. All right. Let's go ahead and do that. So we want to click add on here. Okay. In the add site binding, in the type, select HTTPS. Let's go ahead and select HTTPS. All right. So in the IP address, we type in, we have to locate the 192 address, 168. It's right there. And then the port is 443. Okay. So in the SSL certificate, we change it to PLAB DM01. Okay. And then we click OK. All right. Okay. So this is what we did. We went to add, and then we went to HTTPS. We went to the 192 IP address, and then here we selected the PLAB certificate, and then we clicked OK. Right? It's right there. Okay, next thing to do is back on the IIS, on the left panel, click default website. Okay, I'm closing this. Okay, default website. All right. Double click SSL setting. Click default website. Double click SSL setting. Let's go back to that. See. Default website. Let's go back there. Expand that. SSL setting. What is that? Let's see. So let me locate IIS. It's right here, and then we're looking for SSL settings. SSL settings. There we go. So double click on that. Good. On the SSL settings, select require SSL. So we select that. And under client certificate, choose accept. Okay, client certificate. Select require SSL checkbox. We just did that. Client certificate, accept. In the action, we click apply. All right. Okay. So the changes have been successfully saved. That's what we want to see. Task 3. So we're still on the IIS. So under the site, okay, we want to locate ftp.training. It's right here. Click on that. There we go. Training. Double click FTP SSL settings. So let's take a look at that. FTP is right here. SSL setting. FTP SSL setting. There we go. So we double click on that. And then what else do we do? On the SSL certificate session, we want to go to the drop down menu to the PLAB DM01. Okay, so let me expand this side a little bit. Okay, not selected, so let's select that right here. So PLAB server certificate, that's what we want. All right. Enable use 128-bit encryption. Okay. Okay, so use that. So we enable that. And then apply in the action. Okay. Now IS manager. Okay. So minimize the IS manager. Okay. We minimize that. And we move on. Task 4. So we want to test the web. So we go to PLAB DC01 at this point. Click Start and select Internet Explorer. And then in the address menu, we're going to type in HTTPS /PLAB EM01 and click enter. Okay, there is a problem with the website security certificate. Make sure. Click here to close this page. Continue with this page. I'm going to continue. Okay, not recommended, but continue, right? And then we can see IIS 7 is there. Okay. On the mismatch address, let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at this. There it is. Good. So on the mismatch address drop-down menu, select View Certificate. So let's go ahead and do that. Mismatch address, View Certificate. Let's view that. Okay. On the certificate dialog box, okay, so certificate is issued to trainingsession.com. It's right there. All right, training.com. Okay, issued by PLAB, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then, okay, that looks good. So launch Window Explorer from taskbar one more time. So in the address box, okay, so let me go back to the address box here. Let's close that. Close that. Okay, on the address bar, I'm going to type in the IP address. Okay, we just reached that with the name. Now let's try the IP address. All right, so FTP. Okay, FTP. Okay, 2/192.168.0.2. So waiting on that response. So let me close that, close Internet Explorer. Okay, click OK, we're good. And then launch Windows Explorer one more time. So I'm going to close this thing right here. Windows Explorer. All right. In the address bar, that's where we're going to type in FTP 192.168.0.2 and then press enter. And then once we do that, on the username, we use administrator. Okay. Administrator. And password is going to be password. And then log on. Okay. As we can see the two files that we created before. The error and programs text file. So that complete this lab as well. So shut down all the virtual machine. Let me go to next before I shut it down. Let me make sure everything is done. So summary. So we can shut down all the machine. So power off, and then power off. So that completes this lab 10-1. Okay. Let me pause the recording.